Hey there, everybody. Welcome. This is Lotus, Art of Sacred Embodiment. Hope this is finding you well. We're going to talk today about Yoga of the Divine Feminine. So this is an offering that I am returning to after, at least a decade. Now really feels like the time because more and more of us are at this phase and stage in our awakening that we're ready to move more into initiatory paths or the initiatory level of your awakening path. So Yoga of the Divine Feminine is really the foundation of everything that I do and share and offer. However, Yoga of the Divine Feminine is a practice. It is a one-on-one practice that I offer to those who feel really aligned and who are ready to take this journey over at least about a 3-month period of time. And this is based on a Shakti yoga path. So it's a feminine path, it's a path of surrender, it is a Shakti Kundalini path, and we can actually say now that it is an ascension portal. So I like to use it in that term because our bodies are the sacred technologies for this spiritual evolutionary process that I call, and many others call, ascension. And the Yoga of the Divine Feminine differs from our regular structured yoga classes, right? The yoga classes sort of set up a foundation and a preparation for this next level, for those who feel called to really spiritualize your life. Because it's more than just, spiritualizing your yoga practice. It is spiritualizing your whole energetic system. So I want to talk about just a couple very physical bullet points about this practice. First of all, it's done one-on-one. And it utilizes hatha yoga postures that are done very slowly, very meditatively, and with work with the breath and hands-on from me to assist and deepen the balancing, the energetic flows, releases, and just overall support. So what we're doing with this practice in particular, we're going to talk about, I've got some notes so I can stay on track. So like any yoga, what we're doing is we're releasing that prana, right? Lowercase prana, our life force flow to move through us. And as we all know, yoga has the potential for great healing on so many levels of our body, our structure, mind, nervous system, all of that. And stress reduction, helping us to be grounded, helping us to be embodied, and to strengthen all of those good things. So that's the smaller prana flow. When that smaller, lowercase pranic flow, that's what helps to keep us vital, right? And helps to keep us healthy and to help us keep us from stagnation. The Yoga of the Divine Feminine utilizes very specific techniques that dial the practitioner more deeply into your being. It's going to do all of those above things. And then it is activating your small prana into the capital P prana. So that capital P prana is this innate higher wisdom of your body that connects you to soul, that connects you multidimensionally, and connects you more deeply to source. Now, we can also call this a Shakti Kundalini path. And I don't use that term as often because it gets confused with Yogi Bhajan's Kundalini yoga. And this is very different from that. So I like to keep it separate. But that larger, higher case prana and that innate spiritual wisdom that gets awakened and released is also what we would refer to as Ma Kundalini, right? Or Kundalini Shakti. So that's a whole other video. So I need to put my glasses on. So we could say then that the yoga of the Divine Feminine is the next evolutionary step to the physical yoga. Even though this is a physical yoga, you're bringing in the bhakti of devotion, because once this energy begins flowing more freely and of its own accord, right? It is a natural and organic, truer essence of us that gets released. And the healing capacities and potentials go even deeper into balancing and bringing more of a flood of prana, of life force, to the brain, to the organs, to the nervous system, what it does to the fascia, because it is a free flow of energy. It deeply nourishes and like brings more water into our being on all levels. This is a feminine practice. This is not really a practice of us being the doer. It is about us being the receptive nature for source energy to move through, to bring purification. Now, what we work with even more deeply in Yoga of the Divine Feminine is increasing your somatic, right, your embodied experience, your body's intelligence, your connection to the communications of your body, that wisdom, and the deeper layers of your own subtlety. So these IQs, right, those intelligent quotients, become increased. And sensitization to you, to life, in all ways, shapes, or form, become heightened. So that we're operating from higher activated perceptions, and we're bringing the energy up, both up and down, in ways that we don't know how to do, right? Because every body, every physical body is different. Our karma is different. Our elemental configurations are different. How we hold and store trauma and stress and tension in our body is different. How we hold our wired programming of our thought forms through our body is very different. We don't have the depth of understanding and knowing of how to bring those deeper levels of clarity and healing. We don't know that. We don't have the capacity to know that, even about ourselves. However, our own divine soul presence does, because it is us, right? It is a feminine force who takes on a myriad of the elemental expressions and combinations. She, with the capital S, knows exactly what we need and how we can best heal and expand and come into remembrance of our own soul presence and divinity. Now, this is a path of surrender, and my role, part of my role, is to help cultivate that deeper safety and to hold the container energetically and to know what to look and watch for to support people in their journey, right? In a pace that feels good, in a pace that allows you to integrate both physically, emotionally, and mentally the process. By surrendering, we are increasing our bodies and soul connection. We're increasing that innate wisdom, deeper intuition, and like I said, your divine connection. So this is an initiatory level and expression of yoga. And I think I mentioned this in one of, I wrote about this over on my blog, and I'll post it in the link below. But, more currently, one of the terms that's being used for this in all ways, and when I say this, I mean the spontaneous wisdom and embodied knowledge that naturally rises to the surface, right? Such as spontaneous movements, spontaneous mudras, spontaneous mantra, right? Spontaneous epiphanies, spontaneous knowings. These are not things that come from us. These are things that come from the dimension of source. When I work with, and so, right, I was going to say, more and more it's being called another form of light language, which I find fascinating, I find interesting. I had a little bit of resistance to when I started seeing that come on the radar, probably about, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, because I tend to be a purist, and in the Ascension communities I wasn't quite clear yet of how the traditions crossed into oneness, because that's what everything is doing. And so being on this specific path for, over 2 decades, and teaching it from more of the Eastern lens, it was an interesting shift that I had to make as well, to really sit with the greater integration of everything that's happening for us right now. So this is a mystical path, and you will know, you will sense whether this is something for you. And if you'd like to reach out and ask me about it and talk to me about it a little bit further, that's lovely. One of the things that I get questions often is, well, what exactly is it, and what exactly are we going to do? So the first thing that I want to say is, basically, there are very few things that are precise, and I mentioned them, right, in the beginning. We're going to utilize physical postures to then allow whatever needs to flow from there when the time is right and true. This is not a path of deduction and figuring out in the mind. This is a path of your heart and your soul. This is a path of your spiritual evolution and devotion. So it's not for everybody. And it is done in person. So this is not something that I do distance. And it is something that does require a commitment, a container, a larger container. I usually give it about 3 months, and then we can reassess, because we're not going to activate things without having a container to support that. So it will be something that once you step in, you have full say of how you wish to work with it. And again, if you step in right the first time and you're like, yeah, this isn't for me, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, a month in, things kind of start moving and things start, opening, then we stay working together. Even if what we're doing has to shift to support what you need, we stay working together for a period of time. Because again, this is an initiatory process. And I'll probably do something more about that on YouTube as well. So if you're interested, I am opening this up. I am starting to do it, piecemealing it at this time, taking a slow start, and just a couple new clients before the first of the year. And then in the first of the year, I will be taking more. It will be limited. So just to know, if this is landing with you in some way, feel free to reach out. We can talk more about it. And I think that's it. So with that, if you watch over on my blog, I will be writing more about it, probably more from the spiritual and mystical perceptions. And I will probably be doing more videos, but this is this little intro and invitation for you. All right. Much love.